Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I forgot to mention in my previous video that I have changed my channel name to Aaronella, but I figured that anyone who subscribed to me will probably know who I am anyway. But I just kind of wanted to reference it at the start of this video just so you know you aren't going insane. And yes, my channel is called Aaronella now, and it wasn't always called that, just in case some people thought that they were losing their minds. And I prefer this name now. I've done a few changes to my channel, like the wee videos at the end and my timeline cover, and I'm just quite happy with how it all looks now. So no, you're not insane. Some things have changed except for the content, because the content will always be the same. Anyway, in this video I wanted to talk about something that I actually haven't talked about on my channel yet at all. I will probably bunch it in with my diagnosing Doctor Who videos because it's all the same kind of, it's in the same vein. It's the spin-off of Doctor Who that actually was the first spin-off of Doctor Who, I think, since K9 and Company. So we're talking about Torchwood. Torchwood is one of those weird topics where either you love it or you hate it, because it was very obviously trying to cement itself in the public eye as the adult Doctor Who, and in doing that there was swearing every 5 minutes and a sex orgasm monster in like the second episode of series 1. And some people loved that and some people hated it. I, for one, can see the flaws, especially in series 1, but overall I still enjoy it. I enjoy the characters, the interactions, I enjoy Captain Jack, and I enjoy the situations they got into in the show. But there is a fundamental problem that I think there was in the show that the writers didn't realise they were doing. Or they did realise they were doing and they just didn't think it would affect that much. What they did was that they would well, for one thing, they made Gwen unbearable, and that's just not my opinion. There's a whole community of people online who hate Gwen Cooper because of how she was written. I don't blame Eve Miles for it. She's a capable actress. It's just the character of Gwen was terrible. But we're supposed to enjoy having her as the centre of the show. She is the audience's, she is to the audience, as the audience watching it. Like, that's how she gets fed information, and as she does, the audience takes in the information. But they decided to focus on her relationship with Reese, but then also have her cheating with Owen, and she was just a bit of a hard character to like. And the reason that I bring up the fact that she cheated with Owen, not just the fact that there are no consequences for it whatsoever, but there's also the fact that the writers make focus on this affair that they have as if we as an audience are supposed to like it and enjoy it. And yet they would set up these hints that Jack and Yanto were together, and barely did anything with that. And the reason I have a problem with that is because Captain Jack was probably the first sort of gay character I ever encountered on television. And I was actually quite interested when I first started watching Torchwood to see a gay couple, because I'd never seen it before. Like, Jack had obviously, he'd flirted, he'd kissed the Doctor, and he'd done this and that, and you knew that he was well, I think they describe it as omnisexual, which means that, you know, he'd do humans, aliens, anything in between, he doesn't care. And the fact that they were setting this up for the show, I found fascinating as a viewer, because it was the first gay couple I was ever going to see on TV. And I say on TV, I watched it like in 2011 because I was too young at the time when it was coming out, and my dad wouldn't let me watch it. But it never really came to fruition, if I can say the word right. And I think the problem with that is that they didn't realise how much the audience was actually going to latch on to the relationship between Jack and Yanto, and were going to want to see more. And instead they kept pumping out stuff about Gwen and Gwen's wedding, and they tried to convince us that Jack was in love with Gwen even when he was with Yanto, which was just not just a shitty thing to do to Yanto, but was also a shitty thing to even imply going on with Reese. I mean, Gwen's answer to engaging him is that no one else will have me, and that's just terrible. A terrible thing to say about the person you're marrying. we get all this set up, but basically no like conclusion. We get a couple of kisses and one kind of like fumble where they're playing naked hide and seek or whatever in that episode Adrift. And then in the following series, Yanto is killed. And that is the only time I ever really believe that the kill your gays trope really came in, because Gareth David Lloyd wasn't gonna quit. His character was written off. That's another problem that Torchwood had. They killed off all the likeable characters. Bern Gorman, who played Owen, said that he was gutted when he found out his character was being killed. The woman who played Tosh was upset as well because she didn't know that her character was getting killed off until she read the script. They just wrote people off and killed them without realising the impact it was going to have on the audience. I think that what they were trying to do was go like, Torchwood isn't safe, anyone could die. But they were killing off like everyone who was like remotely enjoyable, and by the time Miracle Day came around, it was just Jack and Gwen. And nobody really liked Gwen anymore. Jack was still enjoyable enough, but I'm hard pressed to find anyone who actually likes Gwen as a person or a character. Like, she doesn't have a redemption arc when she cheats on Reese. She doesn't learn from her mistakes, anything. And Russell T Davis's reasoning for killing Gareth David Lloyd's character Yanto in Children of Earth was that he wanted a war casualty. He didn't think that a threat this big could go by without someone getting killed. And a part of me says, well, why didn't he kill Gwen? Because nobody liked her. And I don't know why he didn't kill her. I don't know why he had to kill anyone, to be honest. I don't think it was necessary. He could have had Jack have a... Fuck, he blew Jack up in the first episode. That could have been a big enough casualty. But my biggest problem is that Torchwood was very much a cock tease with the whole gay couple thing. I don't know if it's because the time period it was on the TV or what, but like they started off with this relationship and then they kind of just don't go anywhere with it, and they're supposed to imply that it's happening, but you just don't get to see it. You as an audience don't get to see it, and we're supposed to believe that they go from fucking in They Keep Killing Susie to Jack being devastated as Yanto is dying, and it just doesn't fit because we didn't see it. The Mortal Instruments had the same problem with Alec and Magnus. We were supposed to care about them and believe that they cared so much about each other when we didn't see any of the development of their relationship. And yet we got to see, in Torchwood, we got to see Gwen cheating with Owen the whole time, and we got to see, like, Toshiko having, like, relationships with Tommy and Philoctetes? Is that how you pronounce it? With Philoctetes, the alien. And it just felt that I don't want to be that person, but it just felt like it was brushed to the side because they felt it didn't matter. And I don't think they planned on how connected people became to Yanto, because he was bisexual or demisexual, and people were attached to that, people related to that, and the fact that we didn't really get much of it and then it got pulled away, like from the rug pulled out from under you so quickly. I don't think the writers realised that people would care so much. A shrine was built to him on Mermaid Quay in Cardiff. When I think it's still standing, it's still there. It's not as like full of stuff as it was, but it's there. And the writers just didn't realise when they killed off this character that they were killing off someone that people had been waiting to sort of, well, see their relationship come to fruition with Jack, and they seemed to think that watching Jack, the audience would enjoy watching Jack slobbering over everyone else, slobbering over Gwen, and slobbering over random people. They seemed to think that we would enjoy seeing that when we knew that he had something with Yanto. It happens in the books. I'm reading the books at the minute, and like Jack slobbers over people when he's in a relationship with Yanto. And even though that's kind of Jack's character, it's not enjoyable to watch, because Jack has been in love with people and he's respected the boundaries of a relationship before. So the fact that they write him doing this when he's in a relationship with a character that the audience very clearly care about, it doesn't sit well, and it makes Jack very unlikable, and it just makes the fact that the relationship that the audience has grown to attach themselves to, even though they haven't really gotten to see a lot of it, it's a very popular ship because people didn't get to see a lot of it, and it's unfortunate that that's the way it is. But when Torchwood first came out, there was barely anything like that on the TV at the time, and Torchwood was so fluid with sexuality and fluid with showing these things. Them bringing this forward just in the tiniest little bit made people think, hey, maybe this show is actually going to represent us. And it didn't. It kind of just pushed it out just the littlest bit, kind of like, hey, look at this, and then ripped it back. And instead had Jack off with other people and trying to convince us that he gave two shits about Gwen in a romantic way. I just never bought that. The way that they were dancing on Gwen's wedding day together, and then it kind of comes off as Yanto breaking in as if he's intruding or something. And it's just like, no, he's not intruding, that's your boyfriend, kind of thing. And they even wrote this shitty bit at the start of Children of Earth that Yanto was insecure about the fact that people thought that they were together in the first place. And it was giving mixed signals, and it was very confused, and I don't think the show writers knew what they were doing at all, which is ironic because Russell T Davies is a gay man, and I would have thought that he would have known how to write, you know, gay characters. He wrote that fantastic drama recently about gay people during the AIDS pandemic, and yet I suppose maybe this was more than a decade ago, so his writing probably has improved, but it's just unfortunate. And Yanto is one of my favourite characters in Torchwood because, I don't know, I just enjoy him. He's funny, he can still kick ass, and yeah, he was one of the first LGBT characters, as well as Jack, that I saw on television, and that sort of thing sticks with you. I don't think a lot of heterosexual people realise how that kind of thing sticks with LGBT people. When you don't see that on TV and suddenly there's a show that has the guts to go, yeah, here, we don't care, we're showing it, it exists, deal with it, that means a lot. And as I say, you get attached. And it's just unfortunate that it was so badly written and badly handled that they ended up killing off this character way too soon, and then just writing their relationship terribly, and basically leaving most of it to the fans to kind of interpret themselves, because fan-written works are actually a lot better than handling the show than how the show kind of handled the relationship, if that makes sense. But there is a lot of examples where that is actually the case. Like, there's so much Children of Earth fix-it fan fiction where Yanto doesn't die, and it just never made sense to me anyway. And I don't think it was fair on the actors. I understand that, like, characters get killed off in shows like this, but they killed Tosh and Owen together, so they just got rid of two actors in a fell sweep, and then in the very next special they got rid of another one, and then left the most unlikable one with Captain Jack, and you can tell that people didn't take to it because Miracle Day was the last time that Torchwood was on TV. And it's just amazing how a show that was so progressive and interesting and fluid with sexuality and social criticism and advance, and with a higher rating that was still successful. It was probably had to be shown after Watershed and everything like that it still managed to be successful with that. The fact that they just still managed to mishandle it and do it so poorly is just, it's kind of fascinating. It's like watching a train wreck. I'm wondering how the hell did they manage that, particularly in Russell T Davies's case. I mean, I know he wasn't the head writer. Chris Chibnall was. I suppose it's one of those awkward things where it's like straight people trying to write gay characters, and I'm not saying you can't. I'm not one of those people who are going to say that you can't do it, but it could have been done better. Even if there could have been anyone who had. So my camera died, and I think that was kind of a way of my camera telling me to stop rambling because the video was getting quite long. But what I was trying to say before I got cut off was that there are probably many heterosexual writers who could have handled it a lot better. My strap is getting in the way. Could have handled writing the LGBT aspects a lot better. Don't get me wrong, I still adore Torchwood. I still love watching it. I adore Yanto as a character. I just think that there's a lot of things that the writers didn't understand that they were doing. Like, they didn't understand how killing off the likeable characters was going to affect the show. How killing Yanto, they definitely didn't expect what was going to happen then. I doubt that they imagined there being a shrine that still stands there 12 years later, you know? So, I still enjoy Torchwood, but I think there was a lot of things that the writers just didn't get when they were writing it. Like, they didn't understand what they were doing and how it was going to affect the audience. So basically, I still love the show, and I'm rewatching it at the minute with my friend Neve, and I'm reading the books at the minute, but I think that there's a lot that could have been done better, especially character wise, particularly in Gwen's case. And maybe don't kill off the most likeable characters in your show. It's just a thought. But anyway, I'll stop talking. That's it for this week, guys. What do you think of Torchwood and their characters? What do you think of killing off Yanto, killing off Tosh and Owen, leaving Gwen? Leave all your thoughts down below. And remember, LGBT people like to see their relationships happen, like, and develop on screen. Like, this whole behind the scenes kind of thing, it's not the best way to get attached to, like, a relationship, or to watching them grow is actually quite nice, you know? Getting to the point, and it gives more impact if you do kill a character off, but hey, that's just me, huh? So I can't do my double thumbs up because I'm holding the camera here before my battery dies again. So I'll see you next time, guys.